Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast featuring our breakdown of the best and worst pieces of visual media, I guess, and audio media or whatever in the month of April. We are going, I probably could have simplified that. So we're going to be joined throughout the episode by all of the buddies and betties, plus I got a sexy little something that I'll let my co-host tease out in a few minutes. So let me introduce this little guy. My name is Foxman, and I'm joined by the O in my SEO. What up, Mothman?
What's going on, brother? I feel like if it's a first-time listener, they're expecting it to be a podcast with you and your son. Let me introduce my favorite little buddy.
Hey, Dad. My favorite little, my hungry little guy.
Yeah. No,
so how's your night going, buddy?
It's going good. I'm excited to be podcasting with you because we normally podcast weekly, but we happen to be doing different shows with different hosts, so we haven't been able to, hear the sweet siren song of each other's voices for a while.
Reunited and it feels so good. Right?
There we go. That's the magic there. I almost joined in, but I try to keep these episodes a little shorter.
Please don't. We want to keep the listeners around as long as possible, at least until you tease out this big sexy something in a bit. But before we get to that, we do have a little segment, something that we do on every podcast. It is 140 characters or less, generally used to summarize a TV show or a movie. This time, an entire month. So Mothman, drop that needle.
Oh yeah, we're summing it up, so summing it up, summing it up, oh yeah, we're summing it up, oh yeah, we're summing it up, so summing it up, summing it up and up.
Tweet.
I think I'm gonna go first.
I fucking love that, buddy. You're my guest on this show.
Just so you can get mad at me.
Oh, God.
Well, you're basically, I don't know, we have differing opinions on summing up a month, so you said even if it's just one to make fun of it, to which case I angrily typed one out, and hours later, kind of regret it, but I'm going to do it, so here it is. All right.
Oh, this is going to be so dickish. I just know it.
It really is. All right. You ready for this? You expect me to sum up...
As ready as I will be.
Okay. You expect me to sum up 30 days in 140 characters? Question mark. Fuck you, Foxman. I don't get paid enough for this shit.
There's not even a rhyme for that. What the hell?
Wait. Is it summing up in a rhyme now?
I mean, we've kind of unofficially transitioned it into that model.
I'm pretty sure that's the you and JP or you and Jables model is just nothing but rhymes. And I mean, I do it every now and then with Nathan, but that's the best I had. I will say I had a hard time in general. I think we both did figuring out what all we consumed this last 30 days because it's kind of been a whirlwind.
Huh. Well, let me show you how it's supposed to go. Best month of shows since last fall. Fargo, Veep, and Better Call Saul. I've seen some, but haven't seen all, but BTB really started to ball, and that is summing it up in a tweet.
All right. Well, that was pretty good. I'm glad I went first to put a positive spin on it, right?
Yeah, honestly, my opening where I did the ow in my SEO, I was going to do something about the boob tube pessimist to my boob tube optimist, which actually would have fit a lot better, seeing as what was about to follow it.
Yeah, given the circumstances. But you know what? Without further ado, normally we talk about music on this show, but it's in the miscellaneous category at the end. But we have some exciting stuff for a few reasons. So first off,
oh God, what do you got?
What do you got, Fox? And what music did you listen to?
I did not listen to a lot of new music. I listened this month to a combination of Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and pretty much any character that you would have seen in that the NWA movie last year.
Okay, fair enough. Well, this was actually a pretty good 30 days for me in terms of new music because one of my favorite new bands in the last few years is called Temples, and they're kind of hard to describe, but they're kind of like a old school rock and roll sounding band, really big retro sound, John Bonham style big drums, but it's really weird because the singer, at least to me, sounds identical to John Lennon. So it's like having John Lennon sing new Led Zeppelin tunes or something like that. And that's probably shortchanging them. That they're a little more modern, but really cool band. And they put an album out a few years ago. They finally did their follow up, and they're actually going to be in town tomorrow. So I think I'm going to go see them. They're like $15 at the Social. But Temples, Volcano just came out. I haven't gotten to listen to it as much as I like, but the first spin was great, and I definitely recommend their last album.
Okay, gotcha. What else? What else you been listening to, buddy? Drop it on me.
All right, so the
Lay
other
it
one,
on me.
and it's not in my mind the strongest album, but I just always appreciate what they do because they're always trying to push boundaries. Is the Gorillaz, who I absolutely love.
I can't wait to listen to that. Yeah, I'm a big Gorillaz fan. Rhinestone Eyes and Melancholy Hill are like, especially Melancholy Hill is like honestly like a top 30 song of mine probably.
And they have some great songs in the past. They're who introduced me to both Del the Funky Homo Sapien and an amazing band called Sibomatu, because one of the singers from that like Japanese rap band was in the first two albums. They're great. There's also
for
amazing...
anybody who doesn't know, Del the Funky Homo Sapien is on like that Clint Eastwood song, the "Finally Someone Let Me Out of My Cage."
Yeah, he does all
it's that guy.
Yeah, all the rapping on like the first two albums, right?
And by the way, Deltron 3030, his like concept album, and he's Ice
So
Cube's
good.
cousin, by the way. Yeah,
I did
that
not know
CD is tremendous. Yeah.
So the Gorillaz are a supergroup comprised of numerous musicians. They actually change roster every now and then, but it doesn't matter because they have like the 4 or 5 cartoon characters that embody them, which I've always thought was kind of cool. They did a new album, and there's actually a really funny video on Colbert's website where he sings Clint Eastwood with the band. When they came
I
on
heard
to play
about it.
the
I
new
didn't
album.
actually listen.
Yeah, pretty good. But the last one that I'm super excited to talk about, and I have listened to a shit ton, is Mastodon's new album, Emperor of Sand. And Mastodon is just, I grew up listening to heavy metal. It's what made me pick up a guitar when I was 11, listening to Metallica. And yet, as an adult, there's not a whole lot of metal bands that really like mesh with me, right? Like most of the music I listen to now is very different genres. Mastodon's one of the more modern bands that I absolutely love. All their albums are epic. It's like a soundtrack to a Lord of the Rings. I think they even scored all the season 5 trailers for Game of Thrones, like epic metal. I know the Jonah Hex movie that wasn't that great had a kick-ass soundtrack from them. But what's amazing on top of all this is that I actually happened to be in Jacksonville at a festival they call Welcome to Rockville, which has a whole bunch of good heavy metal bands, even bands like Offspring and that. And my friend Adam actually got me in, who, just a shameless plug, he is one of the owners or like higher ups in a company called The Music Experience, which, check it out. I mean, it's kind of like a Guitar Center at music festivals, but they educate kids on music, they do signings, and he happened to have Brent Hinds from Mastodon doing a signing, and I just said like, hey, you know these people, is there any chance I can get any time with him at all? And he's like, hey dude, I got you an interview. The only downside is it's probably going to be like 30 seconds because this dude's busy. So we have our first celebrity interview on Boob Tube Buddies.
God damn it, dude. I'm so proud of you. How did it go?
It was a little interesting. So, I mean, I thought I only had 30 seconds. So I'm like, all right, man, I got to nail this. It's got to be great, engaging content, but also, what am I going to ask him? Hey, how do you continue to stay fresh in the metal industry and blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be like a 10-minute answer. And then how is it relevant to the podcast? So I was like, you know what?
So are you more of like a Kurt Loder or like a Matt Pinfield?
I'm actually totally Matt Pinfield because I also got to meet him. He was at the festival.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right?
All
Pretty
right.
cool.
That's very cool. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. That definitely more of a Matt Pinfield. Well, I mean, you haven't not let me listen to it. I've been dying to hear it. You teased out that there was maybe a little bit of awkwardness. I got to hear this. Go ahead and cut to it so I can finally fucking listen.
All right, let's do it.
Recommend one band that the world needs to know about that you don't think the world needs to know about. I think the world needs to know about this band that I like, but no one else knows about them.
Yeah.
Well, there's a band. They're called. I'm trying to think of the name. They're obscure. They're from Atlanta, and what's the name of that band? I forgot the name of that band, so I have to think of another band. They're basically.
Holy shit, Barbara Walters. That was fucking...
Barbara Walters.
Oh, man. Oh man, that was a that was a really, really good first interview, buddy. I'm really proud of you.
Oh, I just love that I asked him this question that I was so excited about, and what he gave me was, there's this really sweet band in Atlanta that's obscure, and they play guitar with a spoon, and shit, what's their name again? And like, he was about to get out his phone and text his friend. And I will tell you right now, I Googled before this podcast to try to figure out if I could even find that band and almost like overdub an impersonation of his voice that got it right. But I couldn't. But here's the best part about it, right? I'm expecting, all right, I got my 30 seconds. This guy's going to leave. But then he just hung out and had a conversation. So we probably talked for like 5 more minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was a really down-to-earth guy, a little bit spacey, right? But he actually got to a point where he was telling me about discovering the band Ghost, which is another favorite metal band of mine that's just like...
Spacey? That guy's like the fucking Obama. I mean, just incredibly well-spoken. He's like a Robin Williams stream of consciousness.
I mean, he's down to earth. He's kind of like a mountain man. I love him to death. I love his music.
Kind of like a mountain man.
I meshed with him.
I get that. Yeah. I honestly, you let me during the break there too listen to like the conversation part, and yeah, he seems like a really cool. I can't believe like just some random dude sticks a fucking mic in his face and he sits down and hangs out with the guy and just shoots the breeze, basically, not even for the interview afterwards. That's obviously a very cool dude.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll show one more clip, which is just him talking about discovering Ghost, because that's probably better content than him not being able to answer the question I put him on the spot on. So we'll just throw that real quick.
I've seen a lot of cool stuff, but I didn't catch their name. You know what I mean?
Hey, I get it. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen, like, I'm the one that discovered that band Ghost. I saw him play at a festival like years ago.
You gotta be kidding me.
And I told my manager's like, hey, keep your eye open for a new band. So I told my manager, I was like, hey, I just saw this band called Ghost that came out with candles. They were super creepy and sounded like Blue Oyster Cult back in the day when they were bitching and everything. So might want to check them out. Next thing you know, they're fucking, a phenomenon.
That's amazing. So I don't go to many metal shows because there's honestly not a whole lot of metal bands that like really pique my interest.
Yeah,
right?
me neither. Yeah.
Ghost is the first metal show I've gone to outside of Mastodon in probably like 6 years.
Yeah.
And it is a show.
Yeah. I mean, the thing
Like, it's
about
like being at
I saw them at the some Danish festival. I want to say it was the I forget the name of that too, but like me and Jimmy Bauer from I Hate God were watching them together.
Yeah.
And I was watching them. It was before their first album was even out.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn, this band is fucking awesome. I got to tell my manager guy wanted to know about a new
Sure.
band to manage. So like right when I saw him, I just called my manager right there and just showed. And I was like, listen to this. This is your new band you're gonna manage.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, they fucking signed him. Yeah.
That is awesome.
All right, so that was the highlight of the interview. At that point, he basically
That is fucking rad, dude. I mean, that must have been a really geek out moment for you too.
It was just great to meet him. He was down to earth, and he ended on the most rock and roll note. He ate a pot lollipop, explained that if he actually smokes pot, he can't sing, and then walked next door to shred with the Eagles of Death Metal, impromptu for one song, and then went and got ready for his set.
When he went over there, was he like, "Hey, I know you guys. You guys are the Ospreys of hard rock, right, man?"
Yeah, pretty much. And then he's like, "Oh shit, wrong band." Handed the guitar back and went over. But
all right, so that was awesome, man. I am really happy for you. Let's get to some television. It's really like the bread and butter of what we do here. So let's talk about it. What did you listen to, or I'm sorry, what did you watch over this last month?
I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot that I watched that isn't going to be podcasted about. So American Gods doesn't have me hooked, yet the performances and some of the scenes and just the world they're building has me highly recommending it, even though I can't say the first 2 episodes were actually excellent. So I would say still give it a shot. I caught up on all the seasons of Silicon Valley and now am current. I'm just about done with season 2 of Better Call Saul, so I can actually start listening to you and Jabel's podcast about that. And then Handmaid's Tale. Julia and my daughter have both watched it and absolutely love it. So I'm going to be watching that this week, but I thought I'd at least throw it out there because it's getting rave reviews, and then 2 people in my life absolutely adore it. But I think you actually have probably more TV to talk about than I do.
Yeah, well, that is on my list to watch, The Handmaiden's Tale. I've heard nothing but great things. I'm going to gloss over Flash, Last Man on Earth, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. They've all been very good. I mean, Flash isn't great TV, but it is fun. So all those I've enjoyed, and honestly, Veep, even though I really like it and I laugh a lot, I don't know. Politics have been so stranger than fiction, it seems like, anyway, over the last however bit, that Veep for me now has a little bit of a sour taste, which makes me nervous about House of Cards even too coming up. But I do want to ask you, are you watching Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I just said I was.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So what do you think about the season so far?
The season so far, I might be an episode behind. The first 2 seasons, I mean, it's okay. I like the prior seasons better. I mean, ultimately...
I thought this was the 4th season.
I think it is.
Oh, okay. You said the first 2 seasons. Did you not watch the 3rd season?
Maybe I did. Oh, you know what it was? I just watched the 2nd and 3rd season back to back, and the 1st season I actually watched when it came out. So I just finished 2 seasons, but you're right, it is the 4th season.
Wow, so you're not really that into Silicon Valley?
I like the characters, and this newest season I think so far is probably my least favorite. And maybe it's just that for me, I've never really watched it week by week. I've always watched it like in a binge, and maybe it just works better for me. Overall, I really enjoy the characters. I think it's kind of like a show like The Office or whatnot, where it's not so much the plot and the things it's really talking about, although the backdrop of Silicon Valley and the tech industry and just interests me. It's more just that they're all quirky, and just seeing TJ Miller continue to pretend he's in power of some sort is funny. And then the really dry, sardonic dude with the beard, and I don't remember his name, but
Guilfoyle.
Yeah, Guilfoyle's relationship with what's the Indian dude's name?
God damn it. You're really throwing me off by not knowing anything about the show. Dinesh. Those 2, their relationship is one of my favorites. Particularly the whole joke about the video server that he makes. And then when they up the quality and she actually sees Ganesh, she wants nothing to do with him. That is my favorite joke, I think, of the whole series. Yeah, it's really good. Honestly, the way that they go back and forth in general is my favorite dynamic. But that's been good. I don't want to dwell on anything too long. I obviously, I've been covering Fargo, and I absolutely love it. I will say, and I know some people like it, so maybe it's controversial, but this last episode for me, which is a bit of a departure for them, it just... I don't know. It did not hit. And honestly, Nathan felt the same way. And it, especially since we podcasted immediately after watching it, that like talking so much about it really crystallized my feelings on it. So
really,
anyway, it has been a really good season overall. Better Call Saul has been awesome. This week's episode was great. Jables and I are podcasting late about that tomorrow. So that'll finally be up. He had a crazy work schedule this week. But that is the majority of what I watched this month, and honestly, I didn't watch much by way of movies either, which is unusual for me. I usually at least watch a few. I did see Guardians of the Galaxy. Mike and I covered that, but that's a May one, so that's kind of cheating. So I'm not really going to go into that.
Sure, and I will say Fargo. I've loved the first 2 episodes, but I've not gotten around to watching the 3rd because I'm also trying to rewatch the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks before the new season comes up. So I'll say love Fargo so far. I will also say that Twin Peaks on my 2nd viewing, easily one of my favorite shows of all time. It just, for whatever reason, is so timeless, so enjoyable, and so weird. And the fact that there's a moment in one of the seasons where Cooper is told by a weird entity, without spoiling anything, I'll see you in 25 years. And the fact that it's going to be airing almost exactly 25 years later after the finale, I could not be more excited.
That is just a really cool way to, and I don't know if that was like their intention or if maybe like they were about to start back up production of the show and timed it out that way on like, I don't know what the deal is with that, but that is fucking awesome. Like, that's a really cool way to bridge a gap of time like that.
Yeah, I'm excited more than anything, like when the show finishes, to get the special features and see what actually the background process was to make it happen. Because there's a point when David Lynch, it was going to get canceled, or another director, because they weren't offering him. I mean, there's a few times where like you didn't think it was going to happen, which made me think it wasn't necessarily part of the creator's grand scheme. So, but you know, we'll talk about all that aplenty come May 21st. At this point.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to your coverage on that. But let's throw over to everybody's favorite two hosts here at Boob Tube Buddies, who are not themselves actually buddies. They are the Boob Tube Buddies, and they got a bunch of shit. And I know Pearl Parties is going to come up. Oh my god, I can't wait to tell. I haven't even talked to you about Pearl Parties, Mothman. Okay, they're going to talk about it here, and I'm going to explain to you what Pearl Parties are off air, so we can talk about it when they come back.
All right, we'll be right back.
Oh my god, you know who that is, right?
Aw, shit.
Nah, bitch, who?
Hey, buddies and buddies, we are your Boob Tube Buddies talking about best of April and what we watched. You want to start?
You're just like so like into it like normal. I'm like, oh, my Betty, I missed you.
I know it sucks because Kristen and I aren't recording anything together right now. We just wrapped up Feud and Big Little Lies. And
This is like a good dose for my fiend.
Oh,
It really is.
I feel jealous. She was recording with Michael today. You guys were recording Sense8?
Yep.
And I had to hide in my room
I don't like it.
and watch Impractical Jokers.
Oh, darn.
Speaking of what I was watching, what did you watch this month?
I watched the Casey Anthony. Jesus. The Casey Anthony documentary.
Me too. Did you love it?
So good.
I loved it. And since we talked
And
about...
we hail from Orlando, so this is like...
It was really good. And okay, so I had a couple people tell me, why do you need to watch it? You know what happens?
I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you know what happens or not. This is one of those true crime documentaries that you're like glued.
It's real good.
It's
and
very well produced.
You get really good interviews with George and... Shit, what's the mom's name? Fatso Anthony. Cindy. Just kidding. Cindy looks beautiful. The stress has put on a little bit of face weight. And that's totally cool.
Understandably.
It might be medication. It might be, you know.
And you've got Jeff Ashton.
George looks sexy as hell, though. Can I just
kinda,
say that?
Kinda
He looks amazing.
does.
Death suits him.
And I retract my statement from our private message board. And I told her the other day, she does kind of look like Taryn.
Who? Casey Anthony? Like, oh, Casey Anthony resembles one of our friends. But that's because Casey Anthony has a beautiful smile.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah, it doesn't take away her. Here's the
Beautiful
thing.
girl.
Our
She
friend
hits her
is like the
mark.
Hollywood version of Casey Anthony.
Did you hear that Casey Anthony's pregnant again? I read that
Oh,
somewhere.
Christ.
Do you think it's,
I think it's false.
wait, do you think it's her lawyer's George Lopez?
Jorge Baez?
Baez, that's right. Not
His
George
name is
Lopez.
George.
No, it's probably not George. Jose Baez.
Jose. Oh, Jesus. Here we
I'm
go.
racist. Just kidding. Yes, that was really, really good.
I missed you.
I liked the interviews.
You're good.
Yeah. Good.
Hey, real quick, can we shout out real quick Lisa Krause Gardner?
Do it.
She's the smartest woman on the face of the earth because she wrote us the other day saying, more Bettys, please.
Yes, Lisa,
So-
we love you if you're listening to this.
And wait for the best of May because I will be done by Riverdale by then. And girl, I got you.
Good. I haven't started it yet.
Well, neither have I because
you're gonna watch it?
I'm actually in the middle of, good segue, I'm actually in the middle of taking another fan's recommendation, 13 Reasons Why. Karen on Facebook messaged us and said 13 Reasons Why is really good. And if you still want to talk about it, I'm still down to talk about it because technically 2 more episodes left and it can bleed into May, Karen. But thank you for that recommendation because I am so glued. I even texted my friend, like, are you going to start this yet? Have you started it yet?
Oh,
Have you
that's
watched it
awesome.
yet?
I want to see A Handmaid's Tale. I'm sure someone else is talking about this, but
I heard it's really good. Have you seen 13 Reasons Why, though?
no. I thought it was a rom-com movie. I didn't even know what it was.
Absolutely not. It's a drama, 13-episode thing. It's about a girl who commits suicide.
Oh my God.
And leaves tapes, side A and side B.
Oh my
And
God,
it's
that's right up my alley.
13 Reasons Why I Committed Suicide. And every episode is based on a person in that show saying, you are the reason why. And then at the second episode
That's amazing.
This tape is about this person and you are the reason why this.
That seriously is me. That's
okay,
like,
so you need to start watching it tomorrow.
Okay.
Karen, thank you so much. I am glued. This is a show that is
Karen
new to
or
me.
Lisa?
No, Karen recommended this. Lisa recommended Riverdale, which I'm going to try next month.
Okay.
But Karen recommended this, and thank you for the recommendation, because holy crap, I have two, they're on Clay's tape. Let's just say that. That's not a spoiler, because Clay is the main character. And so I still have a little bit to go, but thank you so much. Oh my God, so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What honestly, I'm looking at everything I watched. It's all true crime. I watched the Ted Kaczynski special on Investigative Discovery.
Oh, I was gonna say there's a new special on Netflix called Oklahoma Bombing.
I'm sure that's way better than what I watched. But what I watched was awesome. I was on a weekend anniversary, and instead of like making Sweet Sweet Love, I watched Ted Kaczynski. And
my anniversary
awesome.
was the bomb, and when I mean the bomb, I mean Ted Kaczynski.
That's really good. I like that a lot. Other than murder, I watched Casting John Bonet.
Okay, so did I. Not what I expected. So weird, yet so captivating. How is that possible?
Yes, and it's like, is this what they were
I haven't
going
finished it,
for?
though. I haven't finished
finished it either. But is this what they were going for? Or after they were like actually trying to cast it, they realized, holy shit, people are
I think the
crazy.
latter, because like these people interviewing on how they relate to it and what they think, and then all of a sudden they have those block scenes of each person doing lines from the movie. It's just so bizarre, but I love it.
If you were fascinated with John Bonet, watch it, because it's a completely new sort of, I guess, documentary, if you want to call it
Definitely
that.
a different take on the Jean Benet, the Jean Rene.
And it also...
I did it! I made a pun into Jean Benet.
It also sheds a light on how vapid and terrible we are as an American public for what we love to watch.
Yeah, I just celebrated a Jean Benet pun, so absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
Like I said, I've been watching Investigative Discovery like it's my job.
I'm so glad you
love
found it.
I know. Fear Thy Neighbor, Murder Chose Me, Murder Among Friends, which I put on when one of my best friends came over to chill.
Karen?
Yep.
Nice.
Then I watched Dave Chappelle, the Dave Chappelle special, the Amy Schumer special, and then I was watching.
Did you watch the new Louis C.K.?
Yep, and Louis C.K.
That was good. I like the new Louis C.K.
Which I would not recommend watching Amy Schumer, Dave Chappelle back to back.
No,
because it's just very different. Well, what have you been watching? I'm sorry, I just
no.
I've
been watching Casey Anthony, 13 Reasons Why, and then me and my husband started The Expanse, which is
I haven't even heard of that.
It's an Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And it's a space show.
Spanx show?
I wish. That's after the baby goes to bed.
Oh, I'm just imagining everyone in Spanx like, oh god.
It's Ewan McGregor having everybody try Spanx on because he's now a spokesperson. No, it has to do like apparently Mars has been taken over and there is a whole life. I can't think of the words right now. The easy words.
I can't think
There's
of
life
words.
on Mars, there's life on Earth, and there's something in between called the belt.
Oh, okay.
And
the belt?
The
that's the buckle. Sorry.
the belt. That's the buckle, yeah. And there's a possible war between Earth and Mars. Here's the thing. It's a drama that you can get into as a woman or a man, no matter what you're into. It's very good. Hot guys.
Cool.
Thomas Jane from The Punisher and Hung.
I can't.
Do you remember Hung from HBO?
Yes.
Okay, the main character.
Oh, the main character. Okay.
Yeah, he's in it. And the guy from 10,000 BC, a guy who kind of looks like James Franco and Taylor Lautner had a baby.
Okay.
He's one of the main characters. It's actually a really good show. There's 2 seasons. I'm only 6 episodes in, so I can report back in May.
Awesome.
But I really like it, and I definitely recommend it because I think it's one of those shows that nobody knows about that's actually pretty decent. So definitely worth watching. And I just want to keep going because I'm talking to you, but I know we can't.
I would just like to end on the one thing I know we both have been watching together, which is Pearl Parties.
Oh, Pearl Parties. If you last tuned into our season finale of Feud,
you heard us
shit got real.
Yeah, you heard us expound on our love of Pearl Parties.
This escalated quickly. We have a couple pearl jewelries on the way.
Find us on Facebook, Bethany and Kristen, and you'll see. Well, we'll invite you to a pearl party, and we can be best friends and watch oysters being opened and beautiful pearls coming out.
It's
and
very
you will
relaxing.
buy one.
It's so relaxing and it's like hypnotizing. I don't even know how to explain it. When Bethany first introduced me to it, I'm like, homegirl, you gonna try to sell me some leggings and some wraps for my belly next? No, she's right. It's but here's the thing. You have to go to our party. And the only reason I say that is because the host that we go to makes it a game, makes it fun. And in the other parties, you're just watching people open stuff they've already paid for. So
I masturbate while watching my pearl parties.
Well, that's interesting. Fun fact, you learn something new every single day.
And on that note, you want to sum it up?
In a tweet?
I was going to say sum it up in a tweet.
Okay, yeah, sure. I watch shows. We watch shows. This is April.
Hoes. Pearl parties and hoes.
And shows.
Bye, buddies.
Bye,
we'll
Betty.
see you soon.
Oh my god, you know who that is, right?
Aw, shit.
Nah, bitch. Who?
All right, Mothman, I explained to you what pearl parties are. Are you fucking jazzed about it? And can I get you in on going to these pearl parties with me?
Big that I don't physically have to actually go anywhere, I wouldn't mind trying it.
Okay, the only thing I will say is they talk about pearl party trolls, and so it is literally Facebook groups that people create where they get together and they're like, "Oh, I heard that there's going to be this pearl party tomorrow night online," and then they go in there and they're like, "I'd like to see her clam," and this is a fucking stupid shit like that. And so I feel like that can't be me because I do value my relationship and I know how much Bethany loves pearl parties and I know where I sit on the totem of important things, and it is definitely below pearl parties.
I will say that the moment you brought them up to me, like, the analogy I thought of was like the sex toy parties and then also Mary Kay. And then I immediately merged them and said, like, wait, what if all they did with the pearls was make anal beads?
Oh, I thought you were going to say sex jewelry. But then again, that's exactly what that is, kind of.
I did say sex jewelry, just very specific. So I don't know if it's a troll just to be making thoughtful recommendations to merge 2 otherwise popular endeavors.
Oh, I like to have her pearl stuck in my butt.
Your troll voice is so good. Oh god, I want to hear you read to like your kids like the troll under the bridge story, the Billy Goat's Gruff.
Oh man, I actually fucking threw my voice out last night before an interview for Better Call Saul because my daughter is into Harry Potter right now.
Did you read those to her?
We're on the 4th book, and I feel like it's my duty as a father to make sure that I give her the scariest 5-10 pages of Voldemort every single night. And the 4th book starts off with some Voldemort heavy scenes. So I do the talking like this. And it seriously like wrecked my voice. So I got on the podcast to do the interview last night with this guy, David from Tales from the Fandom. He's a podcaster. And my voice was like this the whole time I was talking.
You sounded like me, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So for this segment or this little spot in the podcast right here, I just wanted to talk about some miscellaneous stuff. I tried out a couple of podcasts this month, a few that I liked, a few I didn't. I tried out Lore and The Dollop, which I know are huge podcasts, and I just could not get into it. The Dollop I just didn't find it that funny. I know that people think it's hilarious, so I'm certainly not knocking on anybody else's taste for it, but Lore, I guess, is just not the type of source material that really interests me. What I did really get into this month was Last Podcast on the Left, which is they mix it up a little bit, but sometimes it's about like a serial killer, sometimes it's about a cult, or or maybe somebody who snapped, like Chris Benoit, the wrestler. They're doing a Kurt Cobain one right now. There are Scientology ones are hilarious. So I've been checking that stuff out. Have you listened to any new podcasts?
So I did not listen to the Last Podcast on the Left, but Julia just got that recommended to her, and I just love the name because that's an early Wes Craven horror film, Last House on the Left, which is crazy for being released in the 70s. What I did try, I think I actually told you about them, and they've kind of been part of my regular day now, is Up First just launched from NPR, and it's kind of like a abbreviated 10-minute version of Morning Edition, and it's just kind of like blurbs on the top stories. They have political correspondents interact, but it really is like almost 10 minutes of audio headlines with a little bit of a dive, but not too much. And then they also, there's another one I've heard about recently and tried out, which is called The Daily, which is done by New York Times. That one is usually 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and
Yeah, I'm listening to The Daily now, off your recommendation.
Yeah, and that one is a deep dive. That one's actually the opposite. Up First tries to like go over all the major headlines in 10 minutes without really diving too much into any of them, whereas The Daily actually picks basically 2 topics a day that it gets some sort of interview or correspondent to interact with. But both of them are really well done and just like perfect listening for on my ride to work to kind of be informed and not necessarily feel like on my lunch break that I actually need to pull up a news app, because the next morning I'll get kind of those main bites. But I really enjoy both of those right now.
Well, I was talking about how Guardians of the Galaxy is basically the only thing that I've seen. Did you watch any movies this last month?
I watched Ghost in the Shell late and reviewed it with Philosopher, so I won't get too much into that, but you can check out the podcast. I did see Guardians, which is amazing, but you guys also reviewed that if you want a deep dive, but I think unanimously we all loved it. And then this isn't a movie from last month, but I watched it last month, and I'm honestly not sure if I talked about it on the last podcast, but I really enjoyed The Founder, which is about kind of the origins of McDonald's, and it's starring Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that's Michael Keaton.
Yeah, and he's just a joy to watch, but a really interesting film all around. Other than just movies and stuff, I'm reading, I don't even know if I'd say I'd recommend it because it's weird as shit, but I'm reading a book called Apocalyptic Witchcraft, which is a nonfiction book about reclaiming religion for like the anarchists and such, and how nature is what it's kind of like an flying in the face of people that are against climate change and this, that, and the other, and almost like a love letter to the arts and anarchism and this, that, and the other. But it's really over the top and subversive.
Did you just this, that, and the other me 2 times in a row?
I might have. I honestly have I've tried to describe this book to a few people because everyone's asked me, just in general, like, you reading anything, blah, blah, blah. And it's a hard book to describe because I wouldn't outwardly recommend it to anyone, but God, if it isn't an interesting read. Really well
but
written.
I mean, what I'm trying to figure out, like, is it more of this or a little bit more of that, or is it pretty heavy on the other?
It is mostly the other, if I had to say, but
Gotcha.
God, there's pretty equal doses of this and that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's what I like, a blend. Did you play any video games this month? I know we played a little bit of Overwatch together. I played Cities Skylines, which is kind of like a souped up Sim City, and pretty much every time I start a city, I'm really into it for a few hours, and then all of a sudden, people start dying, and then it's a fucking pestilence in my city. So every time I'm like, oh, okay, so you don't want to put the where the sewage comes out, don't put that right next to the water plant where people are getting their water from. Got it. Okay. And then it's like the next one, it's like, right. I'm like, why the fuck are people dying? And then I realize, oh, all my roads are 2-lane roads, and the ambulances are sitting in fucking the ultimate rush hour traffic, and people are dying all over the place. So I'm on like my 6th iteration of a city, and each one I've only managed to get a few hours without them dying.
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard about that game, but you've described it, and it sounds kind of amazing. I was very addicted to SimCity once upon a time. The only game I've played was a little bit of Overwatch, a very light amount, but I've mentioned, I think, this on the last 2 months. Horizon Zero Dawn, when it came out, looked great. My dad finally beat it. Now I've borrowed it, and I'm still chugging away at it because it's a very big open world game. Gorgeous, a lot of fun. A month and a half in, I'm not bored at all. If you are interested or envious in the new Zelda game that everyone loves, but you don't want to buy a Switch just for it, this is actually probably a pretty good alternative because it is very similar to Zelda in a lot of ways. Giant open world, gorgeous graphics, bow and arrow driven instead of like guns and those things. So I will just recommend that again, but otherwise it's been slim pickings for me on video games. I just haven't had the time.
Okay, why don't we throw over to the philosopher, the old preacher over there, and see what he's been up to.
All right, let's do it.
Preacher don't preach.
And now, here's Mike.
Hello, buddies. Welcome to my best of April. I'm Mike, as always, philosopher, preacher, whatever you call me. I'm okay with it. So let me jump right in. So for April, I've got this New Year's resolution to see a movie every weekend, and April was kind of in the in between as far as what the movies were. So Lost City of Z is actually the most recent thing I saw. It's actually a pretty good movie with Charlie Hunnam and the kid who's playing Spider-Man. I want to say it's Tom Hiddleston, but I know that's not right. But I'm not usually a Charlie Hunnam fan, and he's actually pretty good in this movie. And it's about an English explorer going into the Amazon forest and, to find this lost civilization. Based on a book, really good. Probably can find that book on Audible. The other movie I saw this month that kind of stands out is The Zookeeper's Wife, which was kind of unexpected. I don't even know how I ended up seeing it. I went to the theater to see something else. I went at the wrong time, so I decided to see this. It's a Holocaust World War II movie with Jessica Chastain, where she walks around a lot with baby animals. But it's actually a pretty good movie. Kind of serious, don't need to see it in a theater. You definitely wait till it comes out on Redbox. Some of the other movies I saw this month are Free Fire, which was the shootout with Brie Larson and Armie Hammer, and it's okay. It's entertaining. Nothing you need to rush out to the theaters to see. What else? Oh, Fate and the Furious I saw this month, and it's a Fast and the Furious movie. What can I tell you? It's nothing spectacular. The same cast of characters and the kind of the same shenanigans. If you're into the previous ones, you might as well see this one, right? Just keep the momentum moving forward. As far as TV is concerned, been watching Archer. That's back on. Always been a big fan of Archer. Season's off to a bit of a slow start, but I have faith. Silicon Valley, the first 2 episodes have been pretty awesome with Silicon Valley. And then Fargo and American Gods, which we're covering here on Boob Tube Buddies, that I won't get into too much. Fargo's taken a weird turn, but American Gods, we're only 1 episode in. I like the premiere episode, so fingers crossed that they keep moving forward and with the same kind of quality they showed in that first episode. And then the video games. I always try and touch on the video games because I do enjoy them so much. And what I've been playing a lot of this month with your other buddies, Foxman and Jables, is Overwatch. And I'm not usually a first-person shooter kind of guy, but this is a really entertaining game. If you're looking for a way that you can just hop on and kill like a half hour and then get off, Overwatch is for you, man. And it's a lot of different roles you can play in there, like DPS, tanky, support, or healer. It's more like an RPG that's actually a FPS. So definitely check that out. And if you're ever looking for somebody to play with, and you're on the Xbox, you can always look me up at Fralosifer. That's Fralosifer, and I'll be more than happy to kill a half hour with you guys. Killing some other people. But that's the best I got for you of April. Hopefully May will be a little bit stronger. I look forward to talking to you again. All right, peace.
Preacher don't preach.
You know, for one of the buddies that has probably like the most highbrow and high taste, I mean, this is the guy who literally does like those Fathom Events opera things. It is absolutely shocking how much he loves that Fast and Furious.
That is amazing. Between the CW and that, it's just kind of insane to me because otherwise, and I hope you're listening, Mike, you're the most pretentious person I've ever met.
Yeah, it is funny, and he mentioned Overwatch. We've all been playing together, which, by the way, if anybody wants to play Overwatch on Xbox One with the Boob Tube Buddies, or I'll throw this out there, Rocket League as well, just hit us up. I'm at Fox-Man. I'll get you in the loop. So
absolutely,
I guess that is pretty much it for us, right, Mothman?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it. That's another good month in the bag. So we should probably throw to our credit music, but if only there's a way to do it better this time.
Well, real quick, I do want to say we've had a lot of people writing in recently on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and even Instagram and YouTube. Follow us at Boob Tube Buddies. We love interacting with you guys. I mean, on a serious note, like it is absolutely the reason that we do this. Like when I see that we have a new follower on SoundCloud, I get so stoked. When I see somebody's written in, and it seriously always makes me happy. So like I love seeing that stuff. And then we have a Patreon page too, which I mean, even $1 a month really helps. None of it's lining our pockets. We're certainly not getting rich off of it. It's so that hopefully we can reinvest some more money into the podcast. So anyway, I'll get down off my soapbox. Why don't you tie a bow on this bitch and we'll cut it over to a little something special to outro this.
Sounds good. I did have one last joke at Mike's expense, only because it just came to me. And instead of calling him philosopher anymore, and since you guys reviewed Guardians, let's just call him Trash Panda.
Oh my God.
He loves the trash. He loves CW Furious. It's great. All right. We will see you next time, little buddies. Enjoy this love letter to the fans, courtesy of Jables.
The show is aired, got to move fast. Let's talk and sing and make them laugh. What we do is all for you, and in the past we've had a blast. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Kelly Joy, favorite lass of all the boys. It just fills our hearts with joy to know you listen and enjoy, and that our raunchy songs do not annoy. And that our raunchy songs do not annoy. Now on to user Nanaban, who just might be our biggest fan, informing us each time she can the point of views of a woman. Won't you please let Jables be your man? Won't you please let Jables be your man? Brookie, shy, just might be our favorite guy. First subscriber in Buddies Land. We just have this one demand. Mothman sucks, please switch to Team Foxman. Mothman sucks, please switch to Team Foxman. And we can't forget Brent Hinds, our favorite fan from overseas. Got upset by Mothman's hurtful ways, but they mended fences over oogling Hardy for days. So thanks again to all our friends for giving us your ears to lend, for the help and love you send. Please don't think we're near the end. With your support, Boob Tube Buddies will last. So thank you for listening to our podcast. Yes, thank you for